Welcome, friends. So in my latest video, which you can check out here, although cards have not been working on my videos, so I will also link it in the description, I mentioned that I had I've been getting symbols over the last year, and this whole runes-inspired set of symbols kind of were birthed. That's what it felt like. And so I've been getting a nudge to do little readings, just weekly readings for anyone that it resonates with, just an energy to sit with for this particular week in time. And so I wanted to pull some stones and just introduce you to them. So to attune to the stones, they came through a frequency. I'll back it up. So in my light language, not my light language, but in light language that came through me last year, I realized there was this common phrase, and when I slowed it down, I realized it was, I am Moria, I am Moria, I am Moria. And if you listen to my light language, you may also hear that Moria, Moria. And so, more to come on that. But the attunement to the stones to bring a sense of alignment is Motatoria, Motatoria, Motatoria. And then an English translation of that is I'm aware, I'm attuned, I'm aligned. So I'm going to attune now. Motatoria, Motatoria, Motatoria. And I would like to ask for guidance for anyone this resonates with for this particular week in the moment of the now. Interesting. Okay. So the two stones that came through is choice and air. Something I felt called to share is that all of these symbols have many, many, many layers of meaning and understanding. So they're meant also to help foster one's own intuition in working with them. And so choice is truly that. It can be a decision that you're making. It can also be a sense of empowerment, of stepping into your own empowerment of choice, of being in choice. Even if you're in a situation that you wouldn't necessarily choose, how can you be in your own empowerment, in your own choice in that? It can also be, it's kind of like a little fork in the road. The symbol, it's a Y. And it can kind of, it is symbolic almost of that splitting of the timelines too, of our choices. How am I going to respond in this situation? If I'm actually reacting, how can I take a beat and bring a sense of presence to that awareness that I am in reaction mode? Taking that as information, interesting, okay, that scratched at a very deep wound if I went straight into reaction mode. How can I learn from that, understand myself better through that, and then respond to the situation in choice? And so I think this is really powerful in terms of the environment, the climate, the world that we live in today, that there's so much happening, And that's where the air comes in. And I have a sense that it's going to continue, that there's going to be a lot of stuff coming in quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And what I'm sensing too is that this is not just for, this week. This is an ongoing theme that we've been experiencing and will continue to experience. And to see this week as a theme, not necessarily in linear time, but we are currently in a theme of things moving quite swiftly and us always being in choice of how we choose to receive, how we choose to engage or disengage. Right? If you are feeling a certain way and then you go and you watch the news or you go on social media and you notice that you just kind of feel worse after, that's really great information. So when I'm not feeling in alignment, what can I choose for myself to actually bring myself into even just a little bit more alignment? And so we are always in choice as things continue to move quicker and quicker and quicker. And also like the air, like the wind, it's constantly shifting. So it can feel kind of like this energetic tennis match of just like boom, boom, boom. You can really be thrown off center, right? Especially if you're not in observation of it. So if you are that ball, right? If you're the ball in the tennis match, you're just getting hit. But if you are an observer in the stands watching the tennis match, it can be quite enjoyable to watch. Now, again, I'm not saying that about the world. I'm saying that if you are in it, if you are that ball getting bounced back and forth, it's really hard to make sense of which way is up. It's hard to ground. It's hard to find a state of presence. But if you can take a step back and watch, to not be the ball, you connect with the ball, but you are not the ball. You are an observation of it. And that brings me to another layer of air, which is very much feelings. And air is connected to the heart chakra. And I particularly, again, there's no right or wrong, but I am very much connected with emotions and the sacral chakra, because emotions are a little bit like deeper. And feelings, they say if you sit with a feeling, it passes within 90 seconds. So feelings are a little bit more fluid in my own perspective at this point in time. It's always subject to change. But it's also around emotions and how we aren't necessarily able to choose what we feel. But as these emotions, as these feelings, because they're also intimately connected, right? We can separate them, but knowing that they are not in separation. Again, a microcosm of the macrocosm in terms of being in separation from one another, from oneself, from the unnamed. So also, how can you be in choice when feelings are feeling like they are coming at you hard and fast and ever changing? Can you choose to actually be with the feeling of knowing that it's there for a particular reason? It's not there by mistake, it's there for a reason. So can I be with the feeling, not necessarily even name it, not go into the story around it, just be present to it. And allow that energy of the feeling to be felt, to be acknowledged, so that it can be released, so that it can be healed. And I think that it's my own view too, that sometimes these feelings, these emotions, especially when they just kind of come out of nowhere, are connected to deeper wounds where we're almost like shaving a layer of it off, right? Because if you go into that core wound, it's intense. It's really, really intense. But if you can soften and experience the feelings, all the layers around it, individually, again, take that with a grain of salt, but if you can feel it like layer by layer, not within the context of the story of it, if you still have to even, I don't want to say confront it, but if you still have to revisit it, if that is part of your path to revisit it and part of its healing process, it's not true for everyone, then you'll already be familiar with it. It won't feel so overwhelming. It won't feel so intense. You can actually see it with greater understanding and knowing and embodiment to actually then truly begin to heal it and release it. Also knowing that is probably healing many, many, many different generations within your own particular lineage, as well as your soul group, your soul family, your soul cluster, as well as just humanity as a whole, because many of our wounds are very much interconnected, just seen and experienced and felt in different ways. But when you begin to dig beneath the surface, they are very connected. So that is what has come through me for anyone that it resonates with for this particular week. Also knowing it is not just limited to this week, but being in choice through the winds of change. That's what's kind of wanting to come through as this theme. Being in choice in the winds of change. So these are my new baby. More to come on these, but I felt called to just jump on. Super, not impulsive, but I didn't get camera ready or anything. Just showed up. But yeah, so being in your choice in the winds of change. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these symbols, on the theme, what's come up. And until next time, friends, stay curious.